look, you have improper communication between jurors that tainted this jury decision, and therefore the case should be thrown out and there should be a new trial. I think that was the contention of the defense in this particular case. And in all fairness to the prosecution, their position was, well, this was something that was manufactured. We don't know where it came from. Nobody knows where it came from. It's not reliable. But in this particular case, is there anything within those emails that might give some validity to discussion? If it is valid, why is it that someone should be concerned about that?
Well, you know, it's very interesting that the U.S. Attorney's Office should try to argue against this, because they ought to be on the same side with Scrushy and Siegelman, because it violates the whole process of integrity for juries. And jurors are told by, I'm sure they were told by Judge Fuller and any judge, that you're only to have discussions that are inside the jury room about this case, not outside, not even supposed to be looking at what's on TV or the newspapers about the case, but just what goes on inside the jury room. It's sacrosanct, it's long-standing. And so for them to have emails back and forth with each other, and some of these are serious emails. I'm not going to call the names of jurors. I'm not going to do that. But I'm told there were a couple of Auburn professors back and forth to each other that obviously probably had a lot of influence with the jury given their intellects. And these were not just harmless emails. These were emails where they seemed to be challenging the judge in some way, or trying to persuade other jurors about what to do. And I mean, some of what, this has all been filed as an exhibit.
So this is a matter of public record.
It's a matter of public record. So what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to here, is not something that only I have or you have, but it's something that anybody in the public can see and get.
Now, just for the viewers who are watching this, and you're watching Special Report with Raymond Johnson, and our guest today is Julian McPhillips, attorney for approximately 36 years. Julian, why is it important that the jurors not have communication like this amongst themselves? Are we talking?
Well, because you're only supposed to receive as evidence and influential material, evidence that comes out of the courtroom itself, where the judge can rule on the evidence, the weight of the evidence, the propriety of evidence, etc., not on stuff that it comes from some other source. And as I look at one of these emails, one of the longer ones, where they're saying, this guy said, all public officials are scum. That's what one juror says to the other. Especially this pastor is really a piece of work. I think pastor was their nickname for Richard Scrushy, because he's been known to be pretty out front on his faith, and some people consider him to be like a pastor in the church. And so that was their nickname. A real piece of work. That was a real put down, you know. So they missed before, but we won't. Also keep working on 30.
Wait a minute. They missed before. You're talking about maybe possibly that case that was here in Birmingham?
Yep, that's what it sounds like. I would guess that's what they meant when they say they missed before, but we won't. Also keep working on 30. It sounds like they were working on one of the jurors, maybe by that number.
Okay, so jurors are identified by numbers as opposed to their names.
Right, and we certainly don't want any jurors' names to be mentioned here, but this, you know, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, this is not a harmless error. This is somebody that had a huge axe to grind, was trying to persuade other jurors and using emails to do it.
It almost sounds like a conspiracy among certain jurors outside of the presence of the other jurors to what do we do and how do we approach?
Well, it certainly looks like that, and you know, this was not something that Scrushy and his people, from what I've been told, got from the jurors by any contact that they made with them, but it came into them through an anonymous mail from, I guess, one of the jurors that just felt it was improper. I'm guessing that's what. I mean, all I know is what little I've heard from them as to how, but, you know, it came into them. It's been attached as an exhibit. It gives the date, the precise minute, like 11:38 p.m. That was just before midnight.
Well, this was investigated, I'm sure, by the Department of Justice, wasn't it?
Well, you would think so and hope so, but you know, it's interesting that you should ask that, because it's been kind of a source of controversy lately that Artur Davis, our congressman, was up in Washington, D.C., part of the Gonzalez hearings, and apparently asked Gonzalez about these emails, jurors emailing each other back and forth, and said, don't you think that's a bad thing? Don't you think that ought to be investigated? And from what I've heard, Gonzalez did not respond in a positive way. I'm not sure exactly how he responded, but he showed no enthusiasm, no interest in apparently investigating this type of thing.
Or Yeah, okay.
And so, and it's, of course, no surprise when you consider that his Justice Department fired 8 Republican U.S. attorneys who chief sin was their sluggishness or hesitation in going after Democratic politicians. And, of course, in this case, you don't have any bigger Democratic politician than Governor Siegelman. And Richard Scrushy is a pretty big fish to catch as well, being the captain of industry, and he got kind of caught up in the same web, the same net, if you will. And look what happened to the Republican U.S. attorneys here in Montgomery. They all still have their jobs. So.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm correct, I remember reading about it, and he said something, or seeing something to the effect that he said, yeah, it should have been investigated to. I would think that and especially as myself as a former prosecutor, if this type of an allegation comes forward, I think I have a duty to